And ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending from where you are in the world today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Eithne Treanor, and I'm going to be your MC, so to speak, for the duration of this session. And really, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome all of you to this first ever virtual Gulf Higher Education Conference. It's a real honor, and I'm absolutely delighted to say we already have interest from more than 70 countries, spanning multiple time zones, and there's more than 500 people already in place, all registered, and we're so looking forward to engaging with you. So it's a real pleasure for me to be here with you today. I'm absolutely delighted to see you all. And indeed, when we think of it, while the pandemic, has really, caused forced most of us to really rearrange our lives, I think our priority, our commitment, our absolute focus and dedication to education, to the youth of today, those people who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, that has not shifted. That remains unwavering, and it must continue to do so. Now, we have a super conference for you in the next 2 days. We have about 4.5 hours every day. We have 9 really rich content panels, great knowledge sharing. We have workshops, and they're going to be delivered by 38 leaders and experts and practitioners in the field of higher education. So stay engaged. You're going to want to be with us for the full duration. We're very, very grateful to Keystone for their sponsorship of this, the platform, this amazing platform, really, their professionalism, their dedication, their commitment, and really the entire team, from all of us to all of you. It's really, really greatly appreciated. And of course, a big thanks to Alhambra-US Chamber for organizing this conference. The Chamber's tagline reads, "Linking nations, expanding knowledge, and building commerce." And it could indeed well be the tagline if you know the managing partner, Anjum Malik. She is really the go-to, the make it happen person, as you're going to see in the next 2 days, today and tomorrow. She's done so much great work. So a big thanks, Anjum, and I'm delighted to be back here with you. We work on many projects, and this is a very special one and close to my heart. Now, we focus this conference on engagement, or possibly re-engagement with the Gulf, really around the limitations of COVID-19, and while we're preparing, of course, for the day when we're all back together, when we're learning together, when we're in person, and really in a post-pandemic world, when it's no longer something we must be taking into account every step of the way. The mobility and education, when we think about it, mobility and education, fundamental for each and every one of us in society. And really, when we think about it, for a society to be truly global and in fact to develop, we need education. We look around, I think today our youth will be the leaders of tomorrow. Some of us were in that position years ago, and here we are today. So we have a responsibility. But the youth of today, they will be the entrepreneurs, they'll be the engineers. In fact, they'll also be the educators of tomorrow. So this is something we have to be looking at now and really making sure that we do engage with them. They are the professionals of tomorrow. They're the scientists, they're the doctors, they're going to be the architects, they're going to be the artists. They really will be our visionaries. They're also going to be possibly the politicians. So the policymakers. So we really need to make sure that we're engaging with them right now. And when we look at the challenges that really lie ahead at this time in our life, I heard recently, these are the biggest challenges ever faced in the world. Climate change, the environment, food security, health, education, employment. I mean, these are just some of the many issues which we all must work together to find solutions. Now, of course, access to information and indeed to technology, this has been a huge step forward. It's been a huge help for all of us. And it's brought us closer to a global solution, and certainly opened avenues we couldn't even have imagined years ago. But it hasn't given us all the answers. And we really need to all work together to create opportunities for all, to create an environment for everybody, especially leaving nobody behind. And I think all of you know education is the key. Now, the young generation, and this young generation more than ever, they're more involved, they're certainly more engaged, and they are more vocal than ever. So as educators, we all need to be listening. We need to be able to understand their needs and really to be able to balance them with the changing landscape of tomorrow's workplace and society. It's not going to be your grandmother's future. It's very, very different. So education and educators must really be able to take a leadership role in shaping what those degrees are like, what the courses, the programs, and again, looking at the curriculum. What is that all about? How can that create opportunities that are going to really help to navigate all of society, towards the world that is out there, and a world hopefully in the future without boundaries. Now, this conference does not claim that we're going to address every issue. That's not our job, nor will we offer all of the solutions. But I think we're certainly going to open the dialogue. We're going to get you thinking, and perhaps we're going to get you questioning and at least discussing so much. In the next 2 days, leaders in the education field will address many of the critical aspects of what is happening at their particular institutions and organizations. And as well, they'll offer up some creative solutions and some of the approaches that they've been working on and that they've actually used and have been successful to help develop, and address the very real challenges that are out there. Higher education particularly has a responsibility, and it's really, I believe, ready to offer the best to all of those who are here to learn and to contribute. And that's what we want everybody to do. It is about continuous learning. Now, just very quickly, a bit of housekeeping. The conference is a two-part event, and some of you might wonder why we split it up. And the answer really, it's about focus. We really designed part two, this weekend summit, to focus on the conversation and the opportunities between the US, the UK, and Canadian universities and all of their Gulf counterparts. And the emphasis for this part is exchanging ideas and really discussing some of the major changes that are going to have an impact on the youth in all of these regions. The sessions, what we're going to do is we'll really explore how universities have responded to the pandemic, the lessons they have learned, the impact on mobility, on the changing landscapes of careers, and indeed the reshaping of student life, among other topics. So I really want you all to participate. Please ask questions. Please share with our great team of leaders and experts. It'll be, we don't get them all together from so many parts of the world too often. So make sure you are engaged on this. Now, we've also then designed the second part of this event, December 11th and 12th, to really focus on the students and really the educational opportunities that are there for them. Looking at universities and indeed looking at prospective students and their parents, we want to offer them a platform to engage freely and to discuss their goals, their aspirations, to find the educational match that suits their needs. We all know how important this is. The two-part organization of this event really serves the unique purpose then to address the needs of both sides of the equation, without taking time or focus away from the discussions that have to be put out there on the table and have to be analyzed and examined. So over the next 2 days, I'm really looking forward to hearing and learning from all of you. We all have a lot to share, and this format, while it is virtual, for these few days, indeed, it's very, very real here. We're going to hear real ideas, real discussions. We're going to hear inspiration, and we want this to be engaging for all of you. So let's get started. And it's now my pleasure to welcome the Secretary General of the Association of Arab Universities, who's going to join us, who will give the opening address. His academic background is in tech, engineering, and STEM, and he's currently a professor of structural engineering in Helwan University in Egypt. He's also the former Minister of Higher Education, Scientific Research, and Technology of Egypt. So putting all of that together, I'm absolutely delighted to have here the perfect gentleman for this opening address. So a very warm welcome to Dr. Amr Ezzat Salama. Dr. Salama, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Good morning and good afternoon and good evening, depending wherever you are now. It gives me great pleasure actually to be with you today. And I thank you that the Alhambra-US Chamber for inviting me for this conference. And I look forward for a fruitful and successful conference.